served as president from 1998 to 2000. It is so good to see you.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi. Bob did not believe he was going to be here this evening. He and his lovely wife had planned to be in Colorado at their daughter's, attending some of their grandchildren's events and visiting and things like that. But due to some medical issues that people all have and come up with, he's had more than his share right now, so we are so glad he's here. I would just like to read some of the history.
Okay.
No, you stand here. Are you able to do that, or you want me to get you a chair?
Oh, I can stand.
Okay, okay. This
I
is...
was just getting ready to dance a little bit.
Oh, wow, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, dear President Siebenauer, excuse me. First of all, congratulations to the Minbite 50th celebration. What an outstanding milestone for the history of the organization. Further, I see that an excellent program has been planned for all convention participants. Second, I regret, and that's what I just said to you about that they hadn't planned to be here. He says, in 50 years, I doubt if I have missed more than 2 or maybe 3 conventions. Third, and now for a little history. The first annual spring convention of the Minnesota Business Education Association was held in the Germain Hotel in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And if any of you went to St. Cloud to college, you maybe are familiar with that. It was on April 21st and 22nd of 1967. The theme was government, business, and educators, partners in business education. The Minnesota Business Education Week proclamation was signed by then Governor Harold Levander. Some of you young people may not have a clue who that is. The co-chairs of the convention were Robert Hall and Russell Madsen, assistant professors at St. Cloud College. The convention ran from 1 to 9 p.m. on Friday, April 21st, and again on Saturday, April 22nd from 8 to 2, which included a noon luncheon. Notable speakers included Dr. E.E. Wanos, Dr. William Mitchell, Dr. Cleo P. Cassidy, Minnesota Lieutenant Governor James Getz, and Robert Madsen and Ronald Strand from the Minnesota State Department of Education. Convention topics included data processing, office machines, secretarial procedures, economics for business teachers, bookkeeping, accounting for the high school, a State Department update, a steno laboratory demonstration, and tours of area businesses. He says, I would love to talk about the history, and the name changes up through today's invite. And we will see to it that you get a convention program.
Thanks.
Now, he and his wife used to spend winters in Arizona.
We did.
And I actually had the opportunity to visit with them a couple of times at their Arizona home. And I was saddened when they decided that they weren't returning to Arizona any longer and sold their home there. But they have traveled, a daughter in Colorado, a son that recently passed away this winter, late February. And you have one more son, am I correct?
Moorhead.
Moorhead. Okay. So they have, a number of years ago, moved out of their home in Rochester, and you have
A town home.
a townhome. So guess what? He doesn't have to mow lawn in his retirement.
I don't trim shrubs either.
Oh, good for you. Maybe I need to move into a townhome.
It's a good place to live.
Anyway, what else would you like to share with us about MBEI? Dr. Bob, by the way, is the only executive director that MBEI, now Minbite, has ever had.
Well, I remember Mary, some of your colleagues, Alice Carpenter and Claire Peterson, when we went from Rochester, 3 of us, in a Volkswagen Bug, to get to the convention in Moorhead. And that's when your colleagues were in charge at that time. On the way up, Karen and I were talking about the changes of how the board met on Thursday. We had 1 or 2 sessions on Thursday night. We went all day Friday. Saturday was known as the Delta Pi Epsilon brunch, and usually we brought in a national officer to be the presenter, and we got done at noon. So the times have changed. Friday night's activity, in addition to networking, 1 year in Rochester, let's see, where's my community college colleagues at? There you are. You put on a style show, if you remember that. 2 or 3 years, we had dances on Friday night. And so a lot of different activities took place. But as you all know, times have changed. And so we have talk about the typewriter. I remember the typewriter, the classroom I had in Faribault. We had 5 rows, and each row had a different typewriter in it. You know, you can imagine the mechanical troubles we had when we needed a repairman. But and we've been all over the state trying to build the interest in each division at the time, and that has worked moderately well, very politely well. And now you have changed to combining divisions, and so and that will work too. So the topics, some of the topics were always the same every year, but we had book companies. We had lots of book companies, and usually the book companies sent 1 or 2 representatives, and they were like keynote speakers, or they would put on 1 or 2 sessions during the part of the convention. So how many book companies do we have left?
I don't know,
1,
but
2?
Cengage isn't coming this year, so.
Oh, is that right? And we had lots of vendors. You know, we would have 20, 25 vendors of all kinds. So they were great, and we had big attendance. I think the year that we met with a community college in Red Wing at the casino, Treasure Island, I think we had an attendance of like 350 at that time. Oh, and then you know, Ellis, you talked about how we broke away and had our own sessions. But then there were the years when we got together with all of the vocational groups. And your sister and I were the last 2 people that attended that last vocational conference. But it was a great thing because all the areas got together, and so you had your choice of sessions all over because we were located in one venue. It worked for a while. We don't do that anymore.
Okay, so now we have to ask him, what was the dance of your?
Well, from the time I think that I was in high school till the time I was in college, and then afterwards, there was a lot to the tunes of In the Mood and When the Saints Go Marching In and things like that, and we did the Lindy at that time. I never learned a square dance, and I didn't learn to do the old time dance, but I did learn to do the Polish disco.
Okay. I won't even make you do